Greetings, friends, and welcome to the 2021 Model Rocket Take and Make program. We are back for our third year, and thank you so much for stopping by this video. And listen, if you had the opportunity to register and you received a model rocket, that's great. This video will hopefully help you as a little guide on putting your model rocket together. If not, no problem. Come down and join us on October 9th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. when we're going to launch these right from the parking lot in our Centereach building. Now, in your model rocket take and make bag, you would have received your model rocket kit. Everything that you need to build your model rocket is in this kit, along with a fin, which is going to be separate. You're going to have a container of glue. You're going to have a stick to put that glue on the model rocket. You're also going to need to put this rocket together a pair of scissors, an X-Acto knife or a razor blade. You're also going to need a ruler, that'll come in very handy, a pencil, and finally, optionally, you will need some fine sandpaper. And the sandpaper is optional because it's just going to be used for the last step of putting the nose cone on. If the nose cone is too tight, you're going to want to sand it off a little bit. Additionally, you might want to have some masking tape around. In case that nose cone is too loose, you can add a little masking tape. Having myself put these rockets together a number of times, I will tell you, most of the time the fit is perfect. So definitely have those things around just in case in your home before you put your model together. We also have some flyers for you to take a look at. We ask that you kindly read, especially this part of the flyer, which is the important information. I'm quickly going to go over this right now. It's about the day of the event. But just take a look at this very quickly. The models that we provided you do not have engines, so this is how this is going to work. You have two options. You don't have to come down to the October 9th event to have your model rocket launched if you don't want to. We would love for you to be there. But if you don't want to, you can most definitely launch this on your own. You will just be responsible for getting the engines. They're SD's A8-3 model rocket engines. You'll also have to get the recovery wadding, the igniters, and also the launch pad, of course, and the launcher. You can get all those at hobby shops or Amazon.com. Again, for more information, check out your flyer. Or it would be great if you came down and on the 9th you launched it with us. And basically how it works is, on October 9th, weather permitting, we're going to do a first come, first launched order of the model rockets. You will join us in the parking lot in Centereach. You will meet us at the launch tent. We will load your rocket up with the proper engine. We'll set it up, and then we'll launch the rocket for you. So a staff member is going to launch the rocket on the day of the event. So that's important to understand that. You'll be right up front. You'll be able to see it. No problems. As far as the 9th, it is a Saturday, again, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. It will be weather permitting. Now, what does weather permitting mean? It doesn't mean if it's a sunny day necessarily. If it is windy on that day, we will not be able to launch. So it's very important that you follow us on Twitter. We'll put the Twitter address down below. Follow us on Twitter, and we will let you know if whether or not we're launching that day. What we're looking for is a sunny day or maybe a cloudy day with no wind, nice conditions. Hopefully it'll be a nice temperature, and you'll come down and we'll launch those rockets. Now, due to the nature of model rocketry, we cannot guarantee the return of your model rocket after it is launched. I will tell you that last year, everybody got their rocket back eventually. So definitely have that expectation that there's a possibility that the rocket might not be recoverable. But most of the time these things go up straight up and come straight down. It's really fantastic. And speaking of last year, I'd like you to take a look. We put in the description below the link to last year's highlights, so you can kind of get an idea of what it was like last year. We had a ton of fun. We had some great folks come down. Our patrons came down, and we launched the rockets for them. So that is basically it. What we're going to do now is we're going to show you a little video on how to put this together, kind of a guide for you, and we'll be right back. All right, here we go. This is your kit. You want to remove all your items from this plastic bag here. And make sure you have a good area to work. Nice table. Okay, we have some stickers and our instruction manual. And definitely hold on to this. And this we can put over here. And we have this little bag here as well. It's going to have some of the smaller parts and the parachute. And inside the tube, you're going to have one of your important pieces. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, so now we're going to assemble the engine assembly. So this is the first part we're going to use is a little tube. And we're going to need the items that are inside this little bag here. So let's open that up. Be careful if you're cutting it open that you don't cut anything else. Okay, we're going to use this for later. Just lay everything out so it's easy to find. This is our parachute. We'll open that up later. Okay, so first things first, we're going to take this small tube and we're going to get our ruler. And now we're going to measure, as per the instructions, we're going to come about 1 inch in from the edge and mark that off with a pencil. You want to double check this to make sure this is correct, because both these marks we're going to put on this tube are very important. So we mark our first mark here. And we're going to mark the second mark here. Let's do this. Make sure it's right. Right here. Okay. Now, this is what it looks like. This mark here and this mark here. You can double check your measurements. Now we're going to take our X-Acto knife. Be very careful, kids, with this. And we're going to poke a small little slit at the first mark at the top. Again, be very careful. There it is. There. Just a little slit. And now we're going to take the metal piece that we have here, has a little tab, and we're going to push it down into the first mark, the slot that we just opened up. So it's going to look like this. See? Kind of sticks out inside there. We're going to just hold on to that for now. Okay, make sure it's nice and straight. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take this O-ring and we're going to slide it over and on top of the metal rod to the second mark that we made. So we're only cutting the first mark. The second mark is here. We're going to line it up just up to that mark like that. Make sure it's nice and tight. Open up our glue. And this doesn't have to be super neat. We're just going to put glue around that O-ring. We're not going to see this part, so it doesn't have to be attractive here. We can just put as much glue as possible just to make sure this doesn't move. So make sure you dab enough all the way around this O-ring to kind of set it in place. Like I said, you're going to have plenty of glue left over, but You can use it sparingly here, just enough to keep it from moving. Okay. Nice and sticky. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this O-ring and place it inside the tube, just inside the tube. Okay, you can just double check the fit there. Again, a little glue here, and we're going to put the glue on the inside of the tube. Just get enough in here so it sticks well. And just a little more. Very good. And then we're going to slide that O-ring in. And very important, you're going to want to make sure that it's flush with the outside of this tube. Nice and flush. You can see what it looks like here. And then you're going to want to let this dry. Okay, next, take your rocket body, and I'm kind of haphazardly going to do this, but we just need to draw a straight line down the middle with a pencil. It's just a guideline. We're going to take it away later. Okay, so we have a line down the middle, the pencil. We're going to take this little tube here that we put together, and we're going to put the fins on the tube. So you make sure you're sliding it in the right direction. That metal tab has to be sticking out the bottom. We just slide it all the way down. There's no glue here, it's very snug. Down to the bottom. You can see here now what this looks like. You got that little tab sticking out the bottom, and it should be flush on the bottom here. Okay, now we're going to take this green tube, which is going to slide on top of that tube. But first, a little glue. Just enough to make this stick. So again, we're going to put it in the inside of the tube. Slather it around. You don't want it too thick in here, just enough to keep it together. We're going to take that tube and slide it on top of and over that metal piece here to finish the engine assembly, like so. It's pretty good. You got the back end here nice and flush. And the top. Just take whatever excess glue off, and there it is. Okay. Now we're going to take your rocket body, and remember this line that we drew here, because when we place it on top of the engine assembly, that line needs to be in between two fins. Okay, so first put some glue here. Just like we did before on the inside of the tube. Not too thick, just enough to keep it together and to stick. A nice amount in here. This is attached to the engine assembly after all, so we want to make sure it's nice and secure. And now we're going to place the model rocket body onto the engine assembly. Again, remembering this line, that line has to be in between two of the fins. So make sure that line is lined up in between the two fins, not on a fin. So we just place this over here, and it just slides down, and nice and snug. There you go. Now you're going to find that line, and we're going to use that as a guide here to place this small tube on top of that line, and this is the tube that the guide for the launch pad goes through, right here. So we take some glue. And we can put some on the rocket body here. Again, not too much, just enough. Wood glue is pretty strong. I'm going to put some on the tube as well. Just a little bit on the edges here. And now we're going to place the tube along that line, nice and snug on the, I guess, the lower third here of the rocket. There it is. We want to make this, let this dry. See what it looks like. Got that nice guide tube, and our rocket is together. And this line here can be erased. Just erase it nice and gently, because you're done with that. Okay. All right. Next, get our scissors. Get our instruction manual, and you'll notice up here on page 1 in the top, you have this little diagram here. We're actually going to cut this diagram out. So right along the lines here, just the outside part of the diagram. Doesn't have to be super neat. This is going to attach our recovery system. So here it is. You're going to want to take this and some glue and your rubbery line that came here. This is the recovery system that the parachute is going to be attached to. And we're going to glue this line to this piece of paper in the order 1, 2, 3. Okay. So first we'll fold it over along the dotted lines, like so. Okay, like this. And then we're going to use some glue to first glue on top of this middle part here. You want a nice amount of glue here, because this is going to have the most force when the rocket stops climbing. So you're going to take your recovery line and put it right down the middle, right on top of the glue. Then you're going to fold over number 1, just like this. Hold on to it nice and tight. Let it set a little bit. And then we're going to take some more glue, put it on number 3 here. And again, we're going to fold it over on top of that, like so. So you got a nice little square of sticky goodness, and you're going to want to hold down on this until it sets. Take the excess glue off here. Give it a nice hold, and then let that dry. Okay, looks good. Now we're going to attach this to the rocket body inside here, but not too close to the outside. We need to go a little further in, maybe about an inch down, an inch and a half inside the tube. It's very important, like, half a finger's worth. So get our glue again. Glue the outside of this little paper package that we created. And again, you can do a little more glue here. This is an important part of the recovery system. And again, we're going to put it not too deep, just about there. And then I'm just going to hold my finger down and let that set. Just like that. And then let this dry. Okay, so now the line's attached. Next step, take our nose cone and take this part here, use your X-Acto knife, and we're going to just poke out a hole. Just be very careful. Kids, let your grown-ups do this at home. You don't want to take the whole tab off. You just want to poke out this little part here. There it is. Okay, we don't need that anymore. And this is what it should look like. So you have a little tab here for you to tie our parachute. So we're going to take this parachute apart like so. Unfold it just a little bit. And you have 3 lines here at the bottom. As you're going to see now, there we go, take this out. They all have loops. You want to smooth this out so all 3 loops are together. And then we're going to thread this through the loop that we created by knocking out that tab in the nose cone. Pull it through here and then around and through your parachute like so. And then you're going to pull it nice and tight. Just give it a little tug, and now you're connected to the nose cone. That's what it looks like here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take our recovery line that's attached to our rocket here, and we're going to double tie it, double knot it here through the same loop that we have in the nose cone, like so. So now you have this whole package is connected. You have the line connected and the parachute connected like so. We're going to go in here now with our parachute. Now this part of the putting together of the model is frankly temporary. So we can just fold this over for now and roll this up as nicely as possible. And then we're going to stuff it or stow it, wrap this around, and put it inside the tube. Just feed this line all the way into the inside of the tube. And if we're launching this, we're going to do this for you again because we have to put the recovery wadding paper inside here to protect the parachute. This takes a little patience, but for the time being, you could just stuff it in there. Now, if you have some leftover recovery line here, like if it's not completely snug, you can just carefully cut off this edge here, this end, so it's nice and neat, and then push it in again. It needs to be snug, but not too tight. There you are. Looks pretty good. Okay, so there you go. There's the video on how you would put together your rocket. And again, I just want to reiterate, please hold on to your instructions, read your instructions carefully. Remember, you're going to be cutting that part out in your instructions for a major part of this, which is the return system that gets attached to the line that is part of the parachute. So definitely make sure that you keep your instructions and you follow them carefully. So we will see you all on October 9th, that's a Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Centereach building in the parking lot. You'll see us. We'll be straight back. There'll be a large tent for you to see us. We're going to have some great activities for the kids, so definitely come on down while we watch those rockets being launched. It's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, click the like button. And you know what? You should subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have some great things here at the library on our YouTube channel, so definitely click subscribe. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.